Have you ever wondered what separates a thriving business to your own business? Now, in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys about how you can apply the 7 principles based on the best-selling book Influence by Robert Cialdini. I'm going to share some real-life examples, some case studies, and how you can apply those principles in your own business so that you can increase your influence, and also how you can improve long-term relationships. Enjoy today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Business Strategist with myself, Adam Strong. I'm super pumped, really super pumped, super excited. Really, I'm excited because this is a new chapter. This is a new beginning. This is a transformation, ladies and gents. And so when one door closes, another door opens. So welcome to The Business Strategist. And first of all, I want to welcome back some of our loyal listeners as well. We have listeners from 52 countries around the world. So super excited about that. And for you guys that are new to this, congratulations and welcome to The Business Strategist. So really looking forward to today. One of the real reasons why I decided to kind of jump ship and do a massive upgrade of everything is because I wanted to make sure that everything in terms of our messaging, in terms of who we are and what we stand for, came across a lot more simple, a lot more easier to understand. So really super pumped and super excited. Now, if you're listening to me live, use the hashtag live, use the hashtag replay. If you're listening to the recording and you like what we like what you hear, then great, fantastic. If you get some value, then amazing. What I would say to you, depending on when you're listening to this, of course, I would highly recommend that you rewind and re-listen to this, because I'm going to be dropping some massive value bombs. So make sure you got notebook and pen handy, because it's going to be it's going to be a great show today. So I'm going to be doing a solo episode with you guys. And so what's today's show all about? So I want to talk a little bit about how to increase your influence, okay, without the need to feeling as if you're manipulating your audience, right? So that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about today. And it's interesting because many, many, many years ago, I thought that influence was, as I said to you, I thought it was manipulating the audience or getting them to do something when they felt uncomfortable to do it. Does that make sense? And, I didn't quite grasp the understanding. And what that did is it actually, my sales, my conversions, and my ability to forge long-term, strong relationships took a huge hit. All right. And so it wasn't until I came across an amazing book, by the way, called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Dr. Robert Cialdini. All right. It was written many, many years ago. And recently, a few years ago, he upgraded that book and made it, just changed a few of the strategies in there. But he wrote 7 principles of influence. And we're going to go through those, guys. We're going to go through those 7 principles with you, how to apply them. And I'm going to share some stories about how I've used them in my own business, but then how you can then essentially use them in yours. So I hope this is going to be of value to you. So let's get straight into it, because it's a great book, by the way. If you haven't already purchased it as I'm speaking to you, go over to Amazon, Waterstones, Barnes & Noble, wherever it is. Dr. Robert Cialdini, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. You may or may have not already read it. If you have already read it, I recommend that you go back and reread it, because there's so many great golden gems in that book. There really is. And the great thing about the principles is that they all are scientifically proven to work, which is amazing, right? So let's talk about the 7 principles, okay? So the first principle that Robert had put into his book is the principle of reciprocity. Okay, so reciprocation, effectively. All right. Now, what does that mean? Okay, if you give value to somebody, all right, if you give value to somebody, or you go out of your way to help someone achieve their goals, dreams, objectives, whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, okay, that person, okay, or organization or business or whatever it is, they're going to feel indebted to you. It's not that they feel guilty, that they just feel indebted to you. They feel like they owe you a favor, okay? And this is where the first principle kicks in. And I want to share a quick story, if I may. So many years ago, I had a conversation when I was reached out by a lady, and she won't mind me mentioning her name. Her name was Camelita, okay? Camelita was running a VIP exclusive dinner event for entrepreneurs and leaders at the Ritz in London. Okay, so really high profile, very high profile, very exclusive. There was limited numbers, and she was running an event. All right, and she asked me. We got on the call to explore collaboration because that's what I'm about. I love to collaborate with people. Okay, so she told me what her focus was, and I had some ideas. And she wanted to obviously increase the amount of people that attended that event. All right. And even though there was only, I think there was only around 20 spots left, 20 spots available anyway. Okay. But she wanted to effectively bring more high net worth individuals, high experienced business owners to that event. Okay. And I have a very good network of reaching out to people. Okay. So what I did is I reached out to people within my network. I created that vision and I sold that event on behalf of Camelita. Now, I didn't expect anything in return. Okay. I had zero expectation. All right. And it was a high ticketed event. All right. So I can't remember the tickets. I think they were around £500 or whatever it is. Okay. And I didn't expect anything in return. All I knew is that I believed in what she was selling. Okay. I believed in what she wanted to achieve from that event, and that there was going to be some very high profile celebrities in our industry. Okay. And so I think I had like 5 or 6 people that came along to the event, people within my network that I felt really would have some benefit from attending. And they attended. They paid for the event and they attended. Okay. And during the event, so there was a few celebrities within that event that attended that event, okay? One of those celebrities was a lady called Sharon Lechter. Now, Sharon is the co-author of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. I think there are 27 in total. She was a #1 best-selling author for 27 different books. She was also the former CEO of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad organization with Robert Kiyosaki. And so she was so impressed. So Camelita then introduced me to Sharon. She was so impressed. And Sharon sat down with me and she says, I'm so impressed with the way that you helped one of my students, one of my clients, help them achieve their goals. What can I do for you? Okay. She felt indebted to repay me a favor, even though I didn't expect it, right? And so I told her that I was writing a book at the time, which I was, okay? And I would love it if she would read the book and be able to provide a foreword to that book and a testimonial for me. And she said, without doubt, 100%. And so that was kind of how I was able to use celebrity endorsement, because she is a bit of a celebrity, she's got real social proof in the financial literacy industry. And so we was able to do other business projects and collaborations and synergies. And that's just one way in which you can reciprocate. All right. Another way in which you can reciprocate, for example, on this podcast, right? I get so many people that pitch to me that wants to get on the podcast. Okay. But I turn 99% down. Okay. Because this podcast, specifically this show, is not about the individual. It's about you guys that are listening in, all right? So in terms of reciprocation, what I do is we create a collaboration. So sometimes one person comes on to here and offers some value to you guys that are listening in, and vice versa. I go on as a guest to their show and offer some value to their audience. So that's a really great way to reciprocate and provide value. So what can you do, God? What can you guys do to reciprocate and add value to others without the need for expectation? Okay, all right. And what can you do? What sort of activities can you do that would help elevate your influence? So that's principle number one. Principle number two is commitment. All right. So commitment, what does that actually mean in a nutshell, right? So organizations, business leaders want commitment from their audience. Okay. So from their audience. Now, if, for example, I was, say, a restaurant, okay? And I was opening a new restaurant, okay? And on my website, I offered a coupon code, okay, which gave them, say, I don't know, 20% off on Wednesday nights, for example, okay? And I put my details in, my email address, that's my currency, okay? All right, I'm now committed, okay? So I'm committed. But in order to get me over the line, it might not be the coupon code that draws me across the line. It might be that you need to consistently help them to remember who you are, okay? So what does that actually mean? All right. So the more that you consistently show it, the more that you consistently educate, the more that you consistently inspire people, the more that they remember you. Okay. And when the time's right, they'll commit to you. They'll become a customer. They'll become a client. They'll purchase a product, whatever it might be, but they will come over. They will effectively cross the line on their own terms. So that's commitment. So one of the ways in, for example, you may have a newsletter on your website, for example, okay? And I may sign up to that newsletter because I found an article that you wrote was very interesting, okay? You've then got to continue to feed regular content to me that effectively creates a memory, okay? It creates a memory, and I'm going to think of you every time I suffer from it. Say, for example, I suffered from a particular problem. Say I wanted to increase productivity, and I knew that you wrote a great article about productivity. Okay, then I'm going to be interested in learning more about you as an individual, and how we align in terms of our core values. But consistent content all the time is going to help me to get across the line. So that's principle number two about how you can increase your influence. Principle number three is social proof. Now, social proof is so important. Now, I want to give you an example here because here is a really important. So I do a lot of work with people in the professional services. Now, I use an analogy of an accountant. Now, most people that are listening to you guys, most of us know an accountant, all right, or multiple accountants, okay, because it's one of those professions that it feels like so many people are an accountant, right? Now, say for example, I was in the industry of wanting to engage in an accountant. I need an accountancy service, right? And I draw up a short list, and I got down to the final two. Now, within the final two people, those two accountants had exactly the same experience and exactly the same qualifications, except one of them had written testimonials, one of them had video testimonials, one of them had testimonials on Google reviews. Now, which accountant would you choose? Would you choose the accountant that had zero social proof, or would you choose the accountant that had lots of social proof? The choice is obvious, right? So you choose the accountant which has lots of social proof because other people are sharing their experiences. Other people are selling you, right? So one of the ways in which you can increase your influence is, for example, if you're using LinkedIn as a great example, there's a great place there where you can write testimonials get your clients to write testimonials. Now, if you have an e-commerce website, or if you are effectively on you're running a business and you may be on Google, for example, and you've got Google reviews, okay? It's social proof, all right? So it's real good social proof. So I want you to think about how can you enhance your social proof and position yourself, which gives confidence to the buyer or the audience, all right? So what could you do? All right. So I want to just kind of give you some ideas and some analogies around. So that's principle number 3, which is social proof. Principle number 4 is called authority. Okay. So generally, people that have what's called positions of authority are generally seen automatically as more trustworthy. All right. So if you are the CEO of a company, right, or maybe you are a keynote speaker, all right? So if you are an entrepreneur or leader, okay, and you want to elevate your brand, okay, using public speaking is going to help increase your authority in your industry, all right? And again, if you're seen as a speaker, you're seen as a with your position automatically is more trustworthy, have more knowledge than most people, and you stand out from the crowd. All right. So I was going to say to you, if you if you want to look at increasing your authority, look at public speaking as an option to be able to do that. All right. You don't have to have positions of the CEO or the founder or whatever it is. You don't have to have that, because sometimes it's not enough. Okay. But having a position of authority is going to sway and influence the behaviors of your audience if you have a position of authority. So that's principle number 4. Principle number 5 is what I call likability, right? Now, you've probably heard of this analogy, okay, that people do business with people that they like, know, and trust. Now, you've heard of that, right? So if you're more likable, okay, then I'm more than likely, I'll feel like, if we have similar core values, and one way in which you can increase and improve your likability is using empathy, okay? So, for example, if you're sitting down with somebody, whether it be on Zoom or face to face or whatever it is, okay? And say, for example, you're on a discovery call, all right? And you're working through potential prospects' challenges, should we say, okay? Now, if maybe they come up with some sales objections or whatever it is, okay? And you're using empathy, you're sharing your own story, and they feel that they can relate to you, so there's this relatability, then they're more than likely to be influenced and swayed. You're then going to use your powers of influence using that likability. The other things that you can also do to increase your likability is things like celebrity endorsements, such things like power of recommendation. So word of mouth marketing is another great way to increase likability in terms of the principle. So I remember not that long ago, actually, a few years ago before the pandemic, I was able to speak on the stage of the likes of John Travolta and Vanilla Ice and 50 Cent. Okay, so those are celebrity, they're not celebrity endorsements as such, but I've had the privilege to be on the same stages as those individuals. What that does is, again, it increases likability. All right, so that's principle number 5. Principle number 6, all right, is called scarcity. All right. Now, I use this analogy of if there is a short supply of something, it makes it more, there is more increased demand for something. All right. Now, I don't know if you remember, but there was a energy drink that came out. Now I'm just trying to think what the name of the energy drink that came out in 2023, and it came out, and it was from the music group. I'm just trying to think what it was called, but it was sold in places like Walmart and Asda. and it was, the prices were well elevated, but there was this big buzz because they had influencers and celebrities endorsing the drink, etc. But the reason why they was able to charge premium prices is because they had a limited supply of them. All right. So, and another really great example actually is that we are looking to launch one of our business masterminds called the Game Changers Inner Circle. And it's mainly for experienced business owners in the professional services industry that want to scale up they want to scale up and make an impact to create a long-term legacy. All right. And as part of our cohort, we have started what we call a waiting list. We only offer a maximum of 8 to 10 spaces per cohort. All right. So it's quality over quantity as such. All right. So scarcity, right? Limited numbers, right? What can you offer in terms of like limited numbers? All right. What's that sense of urgency without it coming across too douchey? All right. So, there's a way in which you can promote something, right, without it feeling unethical. And, it's all about making sure that you're leading with integrity and honesty. Okay. So if you are genuinely only wanting to work with, I don't know, say 40 people a year, okay, and you have four cohorts, for example, per year, then obviously, there's going to be a limited number of people that can work with you and your team. Okay. So it's the same. It doesn't matter what business you're in, whether it be accountancy, a financial advisory, or whatever it might be. It doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Okay. Normally there is a ceiling to how many people that you would want to work with. Okay. So whether it be a program, whether it be a course, or whatever it might be, okay, what exclusivity, okay, and what things could you do to help create that scarcity that creates that sense of urgency? All right. So that's principle number 6, and principle number 7 is called unity. All right. Now, let me give you an example of unity, okay, and how it is applied, okay? Unity effectively is a bit like a tribe or a community, for example. So I don't know if you've ever been part of, or you may already still be part of, or maybe you already host a Facebook group, for example. And normally that's led by someone that's got a vision or whatever it might be, and they've got this unity. They all share the same vision. Okay, so they're all kind of working in synergy and collaboration. They may be sharing insights or information. So it could be a mums group, for example, right? I'm part of various Facebook groups, whether it be my local, like Windsor Parents, for example, or it could be, for example, a specific Facebook group for podcasters. It could be a specific Facebook group for, it could be an entrepreneurial business group, for example, or whatever it might be. So in terms of unity, how do people kind of glue together? All right. So where's that gluing effect, should we say, that synergy, that commonality? What can you do? So, for example, you could create a Facebook group. You could create a WhatsApp group. All right. So what are you doing to communicate and connect with your audience? All right. So they're able to build up, again, this kind of unity, but also this likability. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. Does that make sense? So I hope this is kind of giving you guys some ideas. So in summary, let's just quickly go over those 7 principles again. So I talked about number 1, the principle of reciprocity. Okay, so reciprocation. Okay, so that is principle number 1. Principle number 2 is commitment. So principle number 3 is social proof. Principle number 4 is authority. Principle number 5 is likability. Principle number 6 is scarcity. And principle number 7 is unity. All right. So I hope this has given you some ideas about how you can increase your persuasion, your influence, all right, and also long-term relationships, okay, because ultimately, you know, when people come and discover you, it's going to require, it's, you know, people aren't going to spend large amounts of money instantaneously. You've got to develop a relationship with that individual. All right. So that's what I wanted to kind of put across as well. So I hope that that has given you some insights about today's episode and show. Do me a favor, if you're not already, if this did give you some value, we have a great link actually where you can actually purchase a cup of tea for me. We have a big, what was going to say, one of our big missions is to increase the amount of impact that we're having in the world for leaders and entrepreneurs. So we really want to drive as much impact as we can and make a real big impact to everybody around the world using some of the principles, insights, and tools that we're providing for you. Now, if you believe that you've got some value from today, please do me a favor, purchase a cup of tea. Now, if you make a donation to us and it's £10 or more, I will send you a copy of my book, Play the Game. If you purchase a cup of tea of £25, I will send you a personalized signed copy of a book within the UK, and I will send it to you with postage as well. So listen, first of all, thank you so much for listening in today. We've got some amazing topics coming up, some amazing guests, some amazing one-on-ones. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's show. So listen, if you aren't already following me over on LinkedIn, please go over and do so as well. And also on YouTube as well, subscribe to the channel and make sure you click on that bell notification. Anyway, from me, Adam Strong, thank you so much, and speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.